All right, everybody, video two. This should not take too long, so let's get to it. All right, so again, what we need to do now within App Inventor is I need to finish up. So as of right now, we have everything hooked up to how it's supposed to be. The last thing I need to do is I need to change the label size, all right? And I also need to, I should say, when I click on the plus or minus buttons, I want not only the number in this label size to change, but I also want the dots or the pixels, I should say, of the paint color to change on the screen as well. All right, so with that being said, let's get to it. So I'm going to start with the addition button first. So going into the addition button, again, when I click on the addition button, I want to change the size of something, to change the size of the paint on the background. So I'm going to choose the button add dot click event handler. All right, and so while I am in here, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I am changing everything that is on that. So in order to do that, what I have to do is I have to change the pixel information here. All right, so as of right now, it's set hard-coded to 5, all right, which is pulling into the radius here. But I now need to change it so that I want to, every time I click the button, I want to add 1 to it. All right, so with that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under my math tab, right, because I need to add. So I'm going to pull out this math addition block. Well, what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to add 1 to the current value that the pixel is set to. So what I want to do, I'm going to mouse over this. I want to click on this Get Global Pixel, and I want to plug it in. All right, and what I want to do is I want to add the number 1 to that. All right, because I'm going to add 1 every single time I click that button. All right, so, but as you can see, there's nowhere to plug this in. So what am I trying to do? Well, I'm trying to change, ultimately, I want to set the pixel count to a different value, the 5 currently plus 1. And so when that equals 6, I want to set the pixel to the new value, 6. So if I mouse over this again, all right, we have the set feature in here, and that's what I need for this. And that's what's going to plug into this click handler over here. And then I'll take this piece, and then I'm going to plug this into my button add over here. So you can even pause now, and you can try this out, and you can connect to your companion. And what you're going to find is that whenever you click the plus button now, you're going to take the current value, add 1 to it, and then store that new value in global pixel. So if you clicked it 10 times, all right, what eventually you'll have is the original number 5, 10 times over, so 10 and 5 will give you 15. The end result would be 15 being stored in here, which when we touch the screen, it's calling the current size of the pixel, which is 15, and you'll have a 15 pixel radius dot on the screen. All right, but that's not the only thing that I want to change. What I also want to change is I want to make sure that I am adding or I'm changing the label as well. All right, so what am I doing with that? Well, I'm changing the text within the label. So I'm going to have to go into my label here, and there should be a set function called set text, which is right here. So I'm going to grab this set text, I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to connect it into my block here. All right, so I'm changing the text in the label. What am I changing it to? Well, again, if we look back at our designer, we have size equals 5. I don't want to change the size equals. I want to kind of keep that the same, but what I do want to change is this number here. I want that to change constantly. All right, so with that being said, what I am going to do is I am going to introduce a new block here under text called join. So I'm going to click on this, I'm going to drag, and I'm going to drop it in here. And as you can see, the join has 2 inputs over here. All right, the first input I'm going to use, all right, is I'm going to grab this empty string over here, and I'm going to plug this into the top input. And up here, this is where I'm going to put size equals. And I'm also going to put a space after the equal, because when I join something, it joins it together, means it puts it to, end to end. So it doesn't have any spaces when you do that. So I want to account for that space so that it looks neat, when I have the program running in full swing. And over here, now this is where I'm going to be calling the number. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to get this pixel, and I'm going to click on this Get Global Pixel, and I'm going to plug this into here. I could have right-clicked on this and duplicated it as well, but it's both the same. So what this is going to allow me to do, it's going to, every time I click the plus button, it's going to change the text in the label to size equals, and then whatever the current value is being added and being stored and set here in my pixel. So if I hit the button 20 times and it says 25, all right, it's getting the value 25, which means it should show the value 25 here in my label. And again, you can pause the video and you can test that and see how that works. All right, so what I'm going to do now, this is all the code you need to get the button plus working. I'm now going to work on the button minus. And honestly, it's the same exact code. The only difference is one little thing. And so rather than having to go through here and click and drag all the time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click or control click on this to duplicate the button add. And then what I'm going to do with that is, again, first thing, I'm going to make the change. Instead of having the same name, I'm going to click on the drop down and click on button minus, so that goes away. And obviously the only difference here, the code is exactly the same except for the addition operand over here. So I don't want to add one, I want to subtract one. So you can kind of do the fudge method and you can say, oh, you know what? Plus minus one is the same as minus one. So I can change this one to a minus one and then you're done. Or what I would strongly suggest until you get comfortable with the coding piece of it is to go back into the math and actually choose the minus block. And then you're going to be plugging in the same values. Get global pixel to the left side and a 1 on the right side. All right, and then we can throw this addition block away. But like I said, all right, you don't necessarily have to do that. If you want to leave it as plus minus 1, that's fine too. And that's it. So now what you'll see when you go into the designer, all right, when you click on the plus button, not only is the pixel size going to increase and get bigger, the size equals is also going to change. When you click on the minus button, the pixel size will get smaller, and the size equals will change also and get smaller as well. And that should do it. All right, so that is the complete code for this program. Now, you have some enhancements to do, which is going to be your assignments. All right, so this is what I want you to do, and I will post this also on Blackboard in written form so you can kind of go through it as well. But let me explain for you. All right, so you start testing the app, and you're going to notice a few things right away. Right, the first thing you're going to notice is that when you start the application and you touch the screen, you're going to get black dots on the screen. Once you touch a color and you start putting the color lines or the color dots on the screen, there's no way for you now to go back and select black as your color. All right, and so that would be a poor design error by the programmer, because as any of you have ever done any art before, black is a very important color within artistry because it adds shading and contrasting, also adds depth of field, and so it's a very important color to be using when you're drawing or painting. So we want to make sure that that color, since we start with it, is available to us. So enhancement number 1 for you is I want you to take a button and add a 4th button up in this arrangement here. Okay, size it so that it's accordingly to the rest. All right, the background color will be black. All right, and then you have to obviously change the text color as well to black also. Well, not the color, the text wording to black. All right, so that's this enhancement 1. Enhancement number 2, what you're going to notice is that you can click on this button, many times, right? And then you click on the minus button many times. But what you cannot have is you cannot have the pixel size count go to 0 or even go into the negative range, because 0 pixels is just basically nothing on your screen. And a negative pixel, well, there's no such thing. But in App Inventor, a negative pixel, it views it as a positive value. So if I crank this thing all the way down to minus 15, all right, it would draw a pixel size that is a size of positive 15. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to prevent the user from even doing that. So once they get the size equals to 1, all right, you want to prevent them from going any further down. So that means that in my block over here, my minus block, I'm going to have to add additional code that's going to designate that. And I don't want to say it because I don't want to give it away. So I want you to think about this, but think really hard. How am I going to do this to change the pixel count, but not allow it to go beyond 1? In other words, get to 0 into the negative range. All right. I also want you to add a notification to the user once they are at 1 and they click minus again. It stays at 1, and the notification says, sorry, you cannot have 0 pixels or less, or something along those lines. All right, so that's enhancement number 2. Enhancement number 3, all right? We can sit here and work on this program, and maybe I want to draw dots on here. Maybe I need a 60 pixel size dot. As it's set up right now, I would have to click this plus sign 60 times over to get a 60 pixel dot size on my screen. All right, that's a little tedious. So what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to take a button, and I'm going to want you to take and add a button between the minus button and the label here, and another button between the plus button and the label here. All right, and then I'm going to have you have the left side button be a 10 minus and the right side button be a 10 plus. And you then need to go into the code and you need to adjust what you need to adjust in order to account for the 10 plus button increasing the pixel size by 10 at a time and the minus 10 button decreasing the pixel size by 10 at a time. All right, keep in mind, you also want to make sure that the label is adjusted as well so that it changes accordingly. And as I was about to say, keep in mind that the rule still applies. You cannot have the user get into the 0 or below into the negative range. So you're going to want to make sure that the similar code you write here, you're going to implement in the 10 minus, adjust it how you need to, so that you're going to prevent the user to get any lower. So if, let's just say, for example, you're at the size 5 and you click 10 minus, well, we don't want them to be at -5, all right? You want to cap it at 1 and pull up the error and say, sorry, you can't get lower than a 1 pixel count. All right, that's enhancement number 3. The last enhancement, number 4, is I want you to add a second button down on the bottom here with clear screen. Okay, you can drop it on the left or right. It's up to you how you want to do it. But this one, I want you to label camera. So ultimately what I want for this enhancement is when you click on this button, I want you to activate the camera function on your device. And then what you need to do is to take a picture of your environment or, whatever you want to take a picture of. And then I want that picture to overlay on top of the cat here. All right, so it's going to replace your background picture and it's going to be the new current picture. So this one obviously uses the media tab. We used the player before. We're now using the camera component. All right, and again, it's kind of a two-parter. I'll give you a little hint with that. But think of it as part 1, click the picture, start the camera so I can take the picture. And then part 2 of that is what happens after the picture is taken. All right, well, you want to overlay the picture on top of the canvas. All right, so that is assignment, or I should say enhancement number 4. All right, so I will leave you at that. I'll stop the video here. So if you have any questions, please let me know. But do your best to crank it out. And I'm sure that you'll be able to, to figure out all the pieces to it. Aside from that, happy coding. Have an awesome weekend. Just so you know, FYI, if I didn't mention it in the previous video, the grades are complete. I plan on most likely by tomorrow morning getting them all updated and posted onto Blackboard for you. So you'll see that. All right, folks, have an awesome day. We'll catch you soon. Take care.